Hi students, natural resources. In last session, we discussed about natural resources, types of natural resources. In that, renewable and non-renewable. We discussed about these two types of natural resources. So in this session, let us know about different types of natural resources which are present in our surroundings. In our surroundings, we are able to observe several types of natural resources like soil, air, water, different types of flora and fauna. But how far we are utilizing these natural resources? But nowadays, if you observe, these natural resources are disturbing a lot. So many types of natural resources are decreasing day by day. We are facing scarcity regarding to some of the natural resources. What is the reason for this? The main reason is human activities only. So several types of human activities are disturbing these natural resources. Indiscriminately, when the man starts to use these natural resources, that day onwards, it starts to decrease day by day. So what is our responsibility towards two natural resources? Why human activities are spoiling in that much way the natural resources? Now let us know about these with a few examples. So how can we are able to protect these natural resources? How we are able to conserve these natural resources? And what kind of methods are useful to conserve these natural resources? Now let us know. Because of the indiscriminate usage of these natural resources, renewable natural resources are also going to be non-renewable. It is absolutely correct. So, renewable natural resources are going to be non-renewable. That is because of the human activity, because of the indiscriminate usage of natural resources. So, what is such a kind of natural resource you observed in your surroundings? No doubt nowadays, we all are struggling with water scarcity. Water scarcity, water is a natural resource, renewable resource. How much we are able to use, that much we are able to replenish. We in the sense here, the nature able to replenish. But is it happening nowadays? No, that is because of the pollution, what it is created by man. So because of this only, natural resources, renewable natural resources also, because of the human activities, they are going to be non-renewable. For example, you take plant, a big tree, it is also a natural resource. Am I right? So renewable natural resource also it is. To grow one plant in the way of a tree takes years of time. But to cut that plant, we are taking just simply a fraction of seconds of time. So in the seconds of time, we are cutting the plants, a huge amount of plants we are cutting within few minutes of time. But to grow such a way that much big plants, how many years they used to take? So many years of time the plant used to take. We are not giving that much time to plant to grow. So immediately acres of area we are clearing for our purpose, for our usage, for our needs. So such a way indiscriminately we are spoiling the natural resources. So that's why these renewable natural resources are also turning in the way of non-renewable resources. How can you say like that we made it? So for that only here we are discussing an important segment. What it is, children? That it is with the help of an example, groundwater situation in two villages. Here we are selected two villages, and after collecting the data regarding to the two villages, in what way the water scarcity formed in that village, what are the reasons for that, and how we are able to overcome this problem, we are going to explain with the example of two important villages. So here what are the two villages that we are selected to say regarding to this? Those are Vanaparthi and Vadicharla, two villages. Vanaparthi and Vadicharla, two villages. Village 1 and village 2, two villages here we selected. And the proper data collected regarding to these two villages. Here proper data in the sense basic features of those two villages. Basic features of those two villages. So what are the basic features here? What kind of occupation the people are having, and what is the infrastructure of the two villages, and what are the irrigation sources in the two villages, and how far the farmers are doing the agriculture, what is their cropping pattern, what kind of crops that they are growing, and what are the social services that are available in those villages. All these basic features, complete data collected from these two villages. So what is the data? What kind of data? Here we understood from these two villages that it is the farmers, mainly the people occupation is agriculture. So they are doing agriculture, that is the main occupation in these two villages. Farmers are also mostly small farmers, not a bigger ones. So small farmers those are. And their main irrigation source is well. So wells are the main irrigation sources for these villages. Two villages are also depend totally on wells for conducting the process of agriculture. So all agricultural practices they are doing in a similar way, more or less in a similar way. Cropping pattern also. So different ways they are following, but all those are more or less similar, and the geographical area is also more or less similar. So such a kind of two villages onwards, data completely collected. So what is the small difference in between these two villages means? So if you observe this village 1, Vanaparthi village, here we are able to observe a small water storage structure. What it is? Here in a Vanaparthi, we will observe a small water storage structure. What is that water storage structure? That it is a percolation tank. A percolation tank is present in Vanaparthi, but that it is absent in Vadicherla. So that is the small difference only, like that it looks, but it makes a lot of difference in the income of two villages. So the household income of villages totally depend upon the water, availability of the water, especially the groundwater. So what kind of variation this percolation tank bring in these two villages? See here, what is the percolation tank? So percolation tank is nothing but, earthen dam. What is that, children? An earthen dam. So with the masonry structure. So with a masonry construction and structure, an earthen dam, we call it as a percolation tank. So this percolation tank mainly construct with material. What material here we will use for construction of this percolation tank means that is gravel, soil, sand, silt. So different kinds of material here we will use, and the farmers used to make it as a layers, and when they are compactly arranged layer by layer, then it gives a full-fledged appearance of a percolation tank. So what is the use of this percolation tank? This percolation tank able to store the water. In the rainy season is able to store the water, and it is also able to retain the water, and it helps to improvise the groundwater level. So how much water it will be present in that? It enters into the deeper layers of the soil, that it improvises the groundwater level in the village of Vanaparthi. But such a kind of water storage structure, percolation tank, not present in Vadicherla. So for looking it's like a small thing, but this helps a lot to the soil to improvise the groundwater level, because it retains more amount of water and it is able to store the water. Even though outlet also present to this percolation tanks for surface irrigation. So with this the farmer able to irrigate their land also. So that much importance is there to this kind of percolation tank that it is present in Vanaparthi but absent in Vaddicherla. That is the main difference in between these two villages. So how this percolation tank shows impact on the production, that now let us see. Along with this percolation tank, children, one more important aspect also there, it also influences the household income of farmer. Along with the percolation tank, that means along with groundwater, one more aspect also influence the household income of the villagers, that means the farmers. So here, what is that aspect? That is cropping pattern. So see here, children, cropping pattern. Cropping pattern also influence the household income of a farmer. So how is it possible? What is meant by cropping pattern? We are able to divide the cropping pattern in several types. So here the cropping pattern, in the sense, there are different ways of growing crops. So the farmer will grow the crops in different ways. These different ways can be used to give maximum benefit. Why he used to grow different ways? When he will grow in a different pattern, then only the farmer able to get maximum benefit from the field. So such a kind of different patterns of growing crop in the field is called it as cropping pattern. There are many types of cropping patterns. So in this cropping pattern, we are able to see mainly three types. What are those, children? The first one is intercropping, crop rotation and mixed cropping. So the farmer may grow in the way of intercropping method, by usage of intercropping method, or he may change the crop in crop rotation. Otherwise, he may use a mixed cropping method also. So when the cropping pattern he used to select in a correct way, then only the farmer able to get the profit in a full-fledged manner from the agricultural field. So in that point of view, already you know, see once again intercropping. So intercropping means growing two or more crops simultaneously in the same field. In the same field, the farmer used to grow two or three types of crops, but with a definite pattern. So see here, row by row. So one row, one type of crop, and next row another type of crop, like that farmer used to grow. So such a kind of cropping pattern, we call it as intercropping. A few rows of one crop alternate with few rows. So one crop in few rows, and next, for example, if two rows of maize is there, and next again 2 to 3 rows of chilies or mirch crop will be present. So if 2 or 3 rows of groundnut are present, next 2 or 3 crops, either corn or any kind of other crop they used to grow. So such a kind of cropping pattern, we call it as intercropping. And crop rotation, growing of different crops on a piece of land in a pre-planned succession is known as crop rotation. So one season one kind of crop, in the next season another kind of crop, in a kharif one kind of crop, in rabi another kind of crop. Such a way the farmer used to change the crop season by season, that it helps to the farmer, and it is more beneficial than the normal cropping pattern. The availability of moisture and irrigation facilities decide the choice of a crop. We can't decide the farmer should grow this kind of crop only like that, because the facilities what that he is having, that we don't know, depending upon the availability of the water and about the soil texture. By seeing of the soil texture only, the farmer is able to select the crop. So the next important pattern is mixed cropping. Here if you observe on the screen, growing two or more crops simultaneously and intermingled. So here there is no proper pattern to give the plants in this manner only like that. Regularly they used to select a piece of land and they used to grow different types of plants. Such a kind of method we call it as mixed cropping. Intermingled on the same piece of land, without row arrangements. Here particularly you can't say 2 rows are particularly this crop, 2 rows are another crop, like that. So those crops are intermingled in the land. So here this kind of cropping method reduces the risk of failure of crop. So you can't loss much more. We are able to get the benefit through this kind of mixed cropping pattern. So cropping pattern also influences the household income of the farmer. Now let us see what kind of pattern these two villages people are selected and how the percolation tank is showing impact on these two types of villages. Now let us see, children. Here I am showing you the two villages status. So total area of Vanaparthi 3791 acres. If it is Vadicherla 2970 acres. But how much percentage of land those are irrigating in these villages? In Vanaparthi, the farmers are irrigating 25% of the land, but in Vadicherla it is only 15%. But you see the number of wells in Vanaparthi, number of wells are only 155, but in Vadicherla 175. Here in the Vadicherla 175 wells were there, but they are unable to irrigate much more land, only 15% of land only they are irrigating. Number of wells are less in Vanaparthi, but still they are irrigating 25% of area. That is because of the presence of percolation tank. This percolation tank provides water and it helps to increase the percentage of the irrigated land. Not only that, it helps to restore the water. It enhances the water table. It will enriches the water content in the ground level. So that's why the number of wells are less in Vanaparthi also. The people are able to irrigate 25% of the area. So that this status indicates that is the importance of percolation tanks. Now let us see another status after 5 years. So after 5 years, when we are collected the data from that day onwards, after 5 years if you are observed, obviously population will increase, or 10% of population will increase. The status infrastructure are also changes in the villages. That is because it depends totally on water, availability of the groundwater. So how far the groundwater is available in these two villages, depending upon that, now you see the status, how it is changed. So Vanaparthi, percentage change in area under irrigation. Here negative values you are observing and positive values also. So the negative values indicates decline, position of decline rate and loss. But positive values shows that it is gain, raise. So percentage change in the area under irrigation. So under irrigation, how much percentage? Here we are seeing that it is 14, minus value it is. So negative value it is showing decline rate. So here the number of wells in Vanaparthi 39 declined. How many wells are declined? 39% only declined. But if you observe Vadicherla, so percentage of area under irrigation is declined 30%. But number of wells also 68. So why those many wells are declined? Because day by day groundwater is decreasing. That's why the wells are going to dry. So the wells are unfit for cultivation. When the wells are not useful to provide water for irrigation facility, then the farmer unable to conduct the process of agriculture. So that's why obviously the irrigated area, so land area, how much area they are covered with agriculture, that area also starts to decline along with the number of wells, because there is no option than the wells. Only the wells will provide water for irrigation. When the number of wells are dried, when the number is declined, then obviously the irrigated land also decreases. So if you observe the percentage change in the area under crops, Kharif season, Rabi season. In these two seasons, if you observe, mainly the farmers are growing the paddy. So, in Vanaparthi also you see properly, and in Vaddicherla also. In Vanaparthi, 17% only in Kharif and Rabi seasons, they used to grow the paddy. Decline rate it is also because negative value. But in Vaddicherla, if you observe, that is 22 and 50. But instead of that, cotton, if it is, see, cotton percentage is very good for looking, even though the gingerly also. These two are also showing high raised condition only in Vanaparthi but not in Vaddicherla. So, all crops if you observe, only raised condition you are able to see in Vanaparthi, but in Vaddicherla if you observe that it is a highly declined. Vanaparthi is so far better than Vaddicherla. That is only because of the groundwater level. That groundwater level when it increases, when they used to take measures to improvise the groundwater by proper construction of this percolation tank. So, water storage structure is very important to the agriculture. If the water storage structure not there, then water table will decrease day by day. That it show lot of impact on wells. The farmer who depend on wells, those are unable to get sufficient amount of water from the well. If water not there in the well, he can't irrigate. That too, if it is paddy, such a kind of crop he want to select, it need lot of amount of water. So, water if it is less also, so many farmers, they'll show interest towards to paddy crop only, because paddy is more profitable and risk is very less. That's why so many farmers, they used to move towards to the paddy only, if the water is not available also. But we must and should keep our concentration on type of crop also, that too depend upon season. So, see here seasons, two seasons, important seasons are there for agriculture. One is Kharif season and second one is Rabi season. If you observe the Kharif, it is rainy season crops. So, Kharif crops are generally plants in between June and harvest in October, means complete rainy season it is. So, in this rainy season, obviously the farmer used to get more water. So, the crops rice, maize, cotton and groundnut, such a kind of crops are more preferable for Kharif season, depend upon the climatical conditions and depend upon the availability of the water, depend upon the season, farmer need to select the crop. Without thinking all this, if he continuously giving the paddy only day, season by season, that it is not beneficial to the farmer. Rabi season. Rabi crops are sown in winter from October to December. That means it's a completely winter season and they used to harvest the crop in summer. The season is winter season, but at the starting time of the summer, the farmer used to harvest the crop. So, what kind of crops are preferable here? Wheat, barley, peas, gram and mustard. This is in generally we are saying this kind of crops are suitable like that. But mostly farmer need to select the crop depend upon the availability of the water, and after checking and testing the soil texture only, which kind of crop is suitable to that agricultural land, such a kind of crop only farmer need to select. So, when the farmer will follow such a kind of good cropping pattern methods, and when he is having sufficient amount of water, then only he is able to get the profit. And one more here important aspect in these two villages are open wells. So, totally starting only I said total irrigation is depend upon the wells only. So, here in Vanaparthi, the wells are having sufficient amount of water, but in Vaddicherla they are not having sufficient amount of water, because there is no water storage structure. So, groundwater level decreased. So, farmers used to take more and more bore wells. Other than the open wells, they are moved towards to the bore wells also, tube wells also. Many more wells they are means they made in their agricultural lands. So because of this also groundwater level decreased. Why? Because if it is an open well, it will be evaporates. Because of the heavy temperatures, water will evaporate easily from the dry well. But if it is a tube well, that much water won't be evaporate. That is advantage only. But what is the disadvantage here? From deeper layers of the soil onwards also, farmer starts to take the water content. So from deeper layers onwards, farmer used to take the water and that is using for agriculture. Because of this, more and more tube wells and bore wells, groundwater level is totally decreased in Vaddicherla when you compared with Vanaparthi. And it will gives more expenditure also to the farmer. So to give the tube wells and bore wells, he need to expend more and more because for the motors, for the pipeline construction, for maintenance, and to run the bore wells, to run the tube wells, he need to expend more and more electricity. So electricity bills will increase and maintenance charges, pipeline construction, motors, all these will increase expenditure of the farmer. So if that much expenditure is there, then profit always obviously it will become very, very less. So in that way also expenditure is more in Vaddicherla when you compared with Vanaparthi, that is because of the low ground level water. So these all are showing lot of impact in these villages. So now let us see about the status of another important segment. So what it is here, let us see in Vanaparthi and Vaddicherla. Here you are able to see a variation, large farmer, small farmer, depth of bore well in feet, a large farmer able to go up to the depth of 130 to 200 feet in Vanaparthi. But if it is a small farmer, he is able to take only 110 to 180 feet only. If it is Vaddicherla, large farmer need to go 90 to 300 feet because ground level water is very, very less. If it is small farmer, see 60 to 200 feet he need to go for getting sufficient amount of water for his agricultural field. Then percentage of irrigated area per a well, one well, how much area it is able to irrigate. If it is Kharif season, 2.50 in Vanaparthi. If it is Rabi, 1.24. If that farmer is a small farmer, one well is able to irrigate 2% of area. But if it is a Rabi season, the same well able to irrigate only 1.13 percentage of area only. If you are come towards to Vaddicherla, it's totally different. One well is able to irrigate only 1.53% of area, that too if he is a large farmer. If that season is going to Rabi, then only a well is able to irrigate 0.87% of area only. If it is small farmer, so see the status, it is how far it is in a bad condition. So only 0.99% of area a small farmer able to irrigate with one well. But if it is Rabi season, it is more expensive. See here only 0.46 percentage of area only a well able to irrigate. So what kind of difference here you observe, children, that it is? See here, a large farmer able to irrigate more land. Why? If it is a Vaddicherla or Vanaparthi, maybe of course there also some difference is there. But when you compare with a small farmer, large farmer able to irrigate more because he is able to take more depth. More deeper layers onwards he is able to take the water. That's why he is able to irrigate more land. But if it is small farmer, he is unable to reach that much depth, deeper layers of the soil. The well is not support to give that much of water. That's why here the percentage is decreased. One more difference is there. Well is same. For example, see Vanaparthi, well is same. But in Kharif season, it is able to irrigate 2.50%, but if it is Rabi, only 1.24. Why like that? That is depends upon the season. Kharif is totally rainy season. That's why the wells are having maximum amount of water. That's why the farmer able to provide maximum amount of water to the crop. But if it is Rabi, it is winter season, so that much water won't be present in the well. So obviously, the farmer unable to provide that much amount of water to the agricultural land. So that's why here you are able to see the less percentage. Well is same only, but the amount of water is varied season wise. So that's why variation came. Like that only, irrigation per acre per year. Total cost of well irrigation, how much cost the farmer is able to spend for 1 acre per year. 1 acre, 1 year. How much percentage he is able to spend? How much amount he is able to spend? See, if it is Vanaparthi, large farmer able to spend 25,000 to 70,000 per acre. If it is a small farmer of the same village, 25,000 to 65,000 as it is. If it is Vaddicharla, 22,000 to 50,000 he is spending. If it is a small farmer, only 20,000 to 45,000, because the irrigated area is less, water is less. So that's why obviously they used to spend less amount. So like this status changes year by year. That is totally depend upon the water level, groundwater level, cropping pattern, and along with the cropping pattern, what kind of crops they selected depend upon the season. Now, let us see the income of crops. So, how much income these are able to get? If it is Vanaparthi, a large farmer, paddy crop if he is to select in a Kharif and paddy in Rabi, then cotton and gingerly also used to grow. Then finally, he is able to get 25,100 per acre. He is able to get 25,100 per acre. But if it is a small farmer, 29,535. So, Vaddicharla 24,263, and if it is a small farmer in a Vaddicharla, he is able to get 20,189. So, in this session, we understood about the importance of groundwater. Next session, I want to continue with this tabular form, why they are able to get in some villages, in some village how they are able to get highest income, in a second village how they used to get less income, what are the reasons for that we will discuss. Thank you.